Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. On the podcast, we'll talk to experts on everything from Thomasville history and events to daily operations and city business, all while having some fun in the process.
Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. I'm Austin Reams, and I am here with Ricky Zambrano. Ricky, we missed you. I took every opportunity to take shots at you last show, but I'm glad you're here today.
Yeah, I actually think you took more shots that day than when I'm here.
Yeah.
Which, you know, my college coach once told me the more people slight you, the more they love you. So it really, that episode really showed your love for me, which that went deep. You know, it got me a little emotional, maybe a little tear streamed down. But yeah, it was tough listening to that episode while I was sitting on the beach, watching the waves and, you know, thinking about you. So yeah, it was really tough missing you while I was sitting on the beach.
Yeah, you know, you're missed desperately, and I hope you had a good time listening to the Mets while you were on the beach. So we're keeping that gag going.
That part brings a storm to the beach. And
oh man!
Like the game was about to begin, and like thunder started to pound. So that's kind of what a Met game is.
Real quick, I almost feel sorry for him, but let's move on. That's hard for me to do. I don't have a soul, so that's really hard for me.
I mean, we can't just cut away from that.
Okay,
I mean, but I do appreciate you wanting to cut away from my misery. So that's a
I'm trying to be nice.
sign.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, look at that. It's like the calendar flips to May, and there's a nice side to Austin.
Yeah. So as the what's the expression? April showers bring May flowers, or something like that.
Yeah, I think we missed the part. We missed the part of the April showers.
We missed the April showers.
Yeah, we missed the part. The calendar kind of shifted, and it went to May showers. But talking about rain.
Yep, it's as we get to. It's kind of weird to be talking about hurricane preparation, but we're going to talk a little bit about that and. Just a lot what the city goes through and goes on. We're talking to those guys who are in the eye of the storm. How about that?
Whoa,
how about that cliche?
But
these two we're bringing on board today are really at the center of there's a lot going on, but they are in the know about hurricane season, about storm preparation, response, getting your power back on. These two gentlemen, and I'll say gentlemen lightly, but these two gentlemen, come on, you guys, I was insulting you guys. I didn't get anything back, but these two gentlemen,
they don't
really
want you to say that. They're important guys.
They're important guys.
They're important.
And you should always be nice to the guys who either work with power or control power, because they can make your life miserable.
In other words, we got to treat them better than when we have Chris White here.
Yes.
In the studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These guys
are important.
These guys could really mess up our lives if they wanted to. So we have to be nice.
We don't want to. We mess up Chris's life.
Yeah. Please do.
We all try and set that as a goal, right?
That's right. Poor Chris. He has to deal with that's our city manager, Chris White, who deals with all of us, but most of all the rapscallions in the marketing department. So Ricky, kick it off for us. Introduce our guest.
Yeah, we're joined here today with our electric superintendent, Brent, Alderman, and our URC manager, Drew Wharton. Guys, welcome. We appreciate you guys
Thank you, Ricky.
being here with us.
Good morning.
And it is a pleasure having two guys that play such a pivotal role in so many different scenarios where, we talk about hurricane season, obviously coming up in June, but we also talk about these pop-up storms that just come in off the Gulf and just kind of wreak some havoc. So it's not just, there's a long-term preparation involved in what you guys do in the short term, and we kind of want to dive into that. So
sure.
Let's get started real simple. Brent, just if you can give us how many years you've served our beautiful city, and then, give us your day-to-day responsibilities.
Okay. Well, I've been with the City of Thomasville Electric for 43 years.
Wow.
Started in 1983.
You were like, what, 10 years old when you started?
He's been here longer than I was born. Yeah. If you believe that one.
But
no.
So my day-to-day responsibilities really are just ensuring that our ongoing projects, our maintenance, our new construction, those kind of timelines are kept, and then the safety aspect of the crews, keeping the guys in protective gear and trying to make sure that everyone goes home intact the way they arrived that morning, and that we do our job and take care of our families and our community.
Awesome. And Drew?
I've been with the city for 25 years. Actually started on the line crew. Worked for Brent for a while.
All right.
There. So I'm over to the Utility Response Center.
We might have to shift some of these questions and get some
right.
insight
That's
on
right.
Brent. So, go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get all the insight you want if you ask around.
It might not be friendly for a podcast. A different type of podcast. Over to Utility Response Center. So we're a 24-hour utility dispatch center. Got operators that work 12-hour shifts. We have 365, 24 hours a day. So I'm over those operators. I manage them, make sure that they're able to do their job, that they have everything in place, all the softwares, all the systems, those kind of things, planning for it. Kind of unrelated to URC directly, but also I manage our GIS and our asset management softwares. So, and that's another thing that really ties in a lot with the storms and things.
Each one of you have been part of the city's preparation and response to some of our most recent storms and hurricanes. What is your first priority? Brent, I'll start with you. What's your first priority in your areas when preparing for hurricane season?
Well, when preparing for hurricane season, a lot of communication between the operational side, which are the line crews, and the warehousing staff, the electrical engineering part, and keeping materials available for use during those times, because it's going to be, the quantity of materials is going to be a lot greater during that need, or those few days to weeks. So preparation with materials, trying to, if it's a hurricane that is coming in and you're in the path, that's the time that you start trying to arrange help from other utilities, mutual aid help, trying to estimate as best you can about how many people you think you may need. And again, that depends on what the weather team predicts the storm to be. So, preparing for help, materials, and then just a plan to, get essential services back on as quick as possible, and then just kind of work out from that area and work the outages as they come in, as related to large number of outages. Kind of take priority over a small outage. Try to get as many people back on as we can. So that kind of preparation.
Yeah,
So
and I never really thought about materials, but that's true. They're probably hard to come by after the hurricane.
Yes, so yeah, I mean, if it's
or big storm, or whatever.
If it's a hurricane, or a tornado path that has a 20-mile destruction, it's going to capture more than just Thomasville. So material and availability is key. So we have to work with our vendors, and we have to make sure we have enough inventory coming in to put back up and rebuild the electric system.
I mean, you can't just run out to Lowe's and get this stuff.
No, you cannot. We cannot go to Lowe's or Walmart. And
they don't carry poles.
They don't carry
they
utility
don't carry
poles.
poles. They don't carry transformers.
Yeah.
They don't carry cross arms.
And before we go with Drew with the same question, just for clarity, how many miles of lines do we cover?
We have 300 to 400 miles of line. And our service area is just a little over 600 square miles.
Wow. And that's just electric.
That's just electric.
And so there's a lot more that the city of
Yeah.
Thomasville maintains.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, let's pass it on to you, Drew.
Yeah, if I can comment on one thing that Brent was saying right there.
No, you can't. I'm just kidding.
In terms of the lines that, what Brent's talking about, one of the things that's unusual about Thomasville versus a lot of the other cities in Georgia is how much rural area we have. How much is out on plantations, how much of it is inaccessible, and then we have the combination of that and what's in the city. So it's a challenge to sit there and be able to maintain all of that.
So preparing for hurricanes and things like that, what are your first priorities in these times?
So one of the things about a hurricane in terms of how we work in the office is it's very intense versus normally when things come in small bursts. So we kind of have to prepare all year long because whatever your response in during a storm is going to be whatever you do every day. So if you're developing bad habits or you don't have everything in place, it's just going to be worse and it's going to be magnified when you have a storm. So it's a lot of preparation for that. As we get closer to the hurricane season, though, some of the priorities are our software, making sure that everything's working because we rely heavily on multiple different softwares to sit there and be able to manage the storms effectively. And then also making sure that the lessons we learned from the previous storms, we had implemented those to make things work more efficiently.
Yeah. And one thing real quick efficiently is for our utility customers, make sure they have a cell phone number or a number associated when you call in, right? You say, I have problems at this address. If that address has a cell phone associated with it, does that make your life easier?
Cell phones are better because cell phones can receive the text from us. So
Okay.
Whenever we have outages, anybody that's got a cell phone, they receive a text. It's giving them a notification that their power is out, and when there's power restored, it's kind of a two-edged sword because in a lot of ways now we receive less phone calls because people are like, well, I can tell you already know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we actually we don't just rely on phone calls. We have our meters report when they're out. We have our SCADA software, which is that's without getting into it, basically is what controls the main breakers that feed our system, and we have the ability for them to report power outages. So we have a lot of stuff that gives us information during storms of what's out. For customers' part themselves, though, yes, absolutely. Having their phone numbers updated in the system, it's very helpful. Sometimes that phone call is the most important
thing. In relation to that, you're talking about in neighborhoods, a lot of customers doesn't realize that it could be in some neighborhoods or some locations that one part of the block is fed from a different circuit or a different tap line, and this customer may be on and 2 houses down they may be off, and they're like, well, we're on the same street, we're in the same area, why is my power off?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it doesn't work. Power distribution doesn't work the same way as streets, right? I mean,
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't ever assume because your neighbor's power's on, that yours are off or whatever. You
That's
just
right.
don't know.
Yeah, their lights are on, wire mine out.
Yeah.
You're coming from a completely different direction.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. Ricky, you got a question coming up here?
Oh, do I?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just kind of keeping on the theme, obviously, as we've heard from you guys, there's some long-range preparations when you're looking at hurricane season and things of that nature. And as Drew just mentioned, there are day-to-day preparations in general. But as we kind of shift a little bit and we talk about, these severe, short-term storms just kind of roll through, what's the main priority for these storms? So if you guys can both tag in on that. Drew, you want to start?
Sure. In terms of what we do inside URC, we change our schedules. We instead of having operators working, having so many at nighttime, we bring a lot more people to daytime and adjust our shift based on whatever the line crew is going to work, so that we can have staffing for it. That's something that's really important. We have to put that in place. We do a final check on all the softwares. We get all of those things ready. And we also will organize extra support staff. If it's a major storm that comes in, I will organize a damage assessment. Sometimes we send people out right after the storm ends, street by street, to look at it, because we're looking for more than just the power being out. We're looking for CNS wires being down. We're looking for trees in the road, all of the other departments that are affected by it. We're collecting all that information. Our priority is electric by far, but we do have to look at all those other things.
Yeah.
So on the electric side with these afternoon thunderstorms that cause problems, what we, as the electric department does, we have a dedicated crew of 2 guys, 2 linemen that are on call 24/7. And they take the primary blunt of calls after hours. If it's a thunderstorm, they'll work it. If they get to a point that they're overwhelmed and they've got more than they could do, we also have a standby crew that is assigned to be those guys' backup. So the URC will call those 2 additional guys in, and once both teams are working, if anything else comes in, then the URC will just start going down our list of employees or our linemen, our staff, and start calling additional help in.
One thing I did want to say also that Brent didn't bring up, but I know it's super important for the hurricanes in terms of electric, is mutual aid. That's one thing we do before storms is getting other crews lined up.
You didn't give me time. I was getting there.
Yeah. It's hugely important. And we give mutual aid. Some of our crew you'll see go. I guess some of them went to Mississippi in the ice storm kind of thing, right? There's all kinds of things.
Drew was me mentioning mutual aid. So what mutual aid is basically an agreement through investor-owned utilities, electrical co-ops, public power communities like Thomasville. So we have agreements with other utilities, and in time of a natural disaster, whether it's tornadoes, a hurricane, ice storm, if this utility is available to help another utility, a request is made, and people will say, yes, we can come help with X amount of crew and equipment. And the same way it works for us. We'll do the same. See, we're going to pretty much take a hit from this storm. We're already on the phone with Electric Cities of Georgia, is who that we're affiliated with them as a public power community. So they will start trying to, Thomasville's requested some standby crews for this storm. If you feel you're available to help, they'll get on the list and they'll email us names of crews in the city they're coming from and about how many people they're going to send, so we can make those arrangements for hotels and that kind of stuff. But yeah, mutual aid is very, very important.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's important. I'll tell you what, it's a special part of it because, when you see the stories of the responses and stuff like that, and it's been a joy to kind of monitor on social media when we've had our crews at other locations and all of the appreciation that comes from those areas that we get tagged on, and that's really special, and it shows the humanity of people. So that's a really cool thing.
The guys or the families that do these things, you may see the Thomasville guys in North Carolina or Florida or Louisiana, and when they get there, there's guys from other municipals in Georgia, public power, that they've known throughout the years and they've worked with on multiple storms. So all these guys kind of build relationships, and when they get out on these storms, they work as one big team.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add one last thing, I remember one of your crews was gone in December, I believe it was, and it was looking like they potentially might have to stay through Christmas.
Yes. I believe that was up to Marietta I believe it was Marietta.
Yeah. They were able to get back before Christmas,
they were able
but it
to
was
get back.
kind of a hit or miss.
That freeze line shifted a little more north and east, so Marietta didn't sustain that much damage, and they were able to come back home. But they would, if it was a holiday, we're just going to keep right on going.
Yep, that's part of the job, and one of the reasons we respect the heck out of what you guys do as on electric and the URC. There no days off. No days off.
No days
Not
off
during
when the
storms,
power's
right?
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, not during storms, but you guys are 365.
Yeah, 365 anyway. So
Yeah. But I'm not there the whole time.
All right, so Brent, pretty popular question here.
Okay.
True or false? Okay, our linemen can respond to an outage at any time during a severe storm or hurricane. Power goes out,
That is false,
and Drew's
Ricky.
going to call them in.
That is false. So typically in bad weather, we are called out, and if there's specifics in the weather that may be unsafe for the guys to go up in the bucket trucks and work on the lines and the poles, OSHA says that there must be a qualified person to determine if it's safe enough for that lift to go up in the air and that guy to work. OSHA does not set a specific wind speed limit, but it is advised that once the wind speeds exceeds 20 miles an hour, that the situation is evaluated by the crew on site or the person in charge on site. And if they feel that it's unsafe, then you stop work. Do we go up and work when the wind speed is above 20? A lot of times, yes. But we try to leave that up to the person in charge on the job site and the linemen themselves.
If the winds are below a certain amount, you feel safe. You're still out there in the rain.
We
you're in there. You're in there.
typically work from those trucks during the storms when the wind speed is way over 20 miles an hour. We don't really like to, what we call boom down, which is bring the bucket truck down, cradle it, and wait it out. We don't like to do that. We want to get the power restored, but when it does move and the power lines and the trees are all
swaying on
moving 6 to 8 foot one way or the other, it's time to come down and be safe for.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we got another true false question here for Drew. When the power's out, the first priority is to get the power on at Ricky's house.
Ricky lives at Archibald? If so, then yes, it is true.
So that will be our first priority, is getting medical stuff, Archibald on.
During a major storm, the first priority is actually dictated by the EOC, and it's not to restore power, but it's to clear a path so that you can get to Archibald, to their different facilities. We come in from Old Monticello and we come in from Old Albany Road. So even if it means getting a bulldozer out there and pushing all the broke poles out of the way and making it harder for us to repair later, that is the highest priority. And then we start doing power restoration. And yes, the emergency, the services like that, the hospital, that is a very, very high priority. If they're down, I mean, they have generators, fortunately, but it's not safe for them to count on that only. So getting Archibald back on is the highest priority, and then we have a list that goes down from that. We focus in on the main, what we call feeders. They're circuits. It's like you could have anywhere from 50 to 1,000 customers that are behind one of those feeders, And you have to get those on first, because if you don't get those on first, it's not going to matter the individual important outage that's behind it. And then we do not hospitals, I'm sorry. We do restaurants, we do the Walmart, grocery stores,
kind of thing.
places that are really important for our citizens to be able to access. At one time, we had a very detailed list, but to be completely honest, you can't follow it.
Yeah.
You have to have a general guideline, you have to have experience, and you have to react to whatever's happening.
Yeah. So, Brent, how does your team communicate needs from other departments in order to respond? How does that work?
So our communication, our primary way is through two-way radio. We're in touch with the URC via a specific radio channel just for electric operations. Each department in the city has a channel that they can use for their communication. In the power business or the storm business, the clear communication is super, super important. So that's why we rely on the radio traffic. Everyone is hearing the conversation.
Communication it keeps you alive. In other words, you got to shut this down so that when somebody's working on it, they don't get electrocuted.
Absolutely. So
you can't be wrong.
You can't be wrong. During the storms, whether it's hurricane or afternoon thunderstorm, one miscommunication can end someone's life and change their family's life forever. So it is life and death communication.
Yeah, it absolutely is. One of the things we do when crews are working out there on sunny days is we have settings on our breakers that we call them hotline tags, and they change the settings on the breaker where if something happens out there, the breaker will not try and close back in, and it will open quicker. And it's all about the safety of the crews working out there, because if something goes wrong, you want the power to instantly go out, and you don't want it to try and come back on. Another big area is whenever we're storing power, like Brent was saying, that it's so important to say it over the radio, because somebody could say, hey, we're ready to sit there and close that breaker in, we're ready to restore it. And if everybody's not on the same page, you could have somebody else out there that was working in the area that somebody wasn't aware of. But because everybody's listening in, they're like, whoa, hold on. Don't do that.
All right. So last question here. Brent and Andrew, this goes to you guys as well, but let's end up the interview. What's the toughest storm response you've been a part of?
The toughest storm that I've been a part of was early in my career, Hurricane Kate.
Okay.
1985.
Yeah. I remember that. That was Thomasville's last direct hit, probably, right?
Yeah, probably a direct hit. We've been close.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael was west of us, but it was, if we had sustained that direct hit, Thomasville would not look like Thomasville.
Yeah.
But Hurricane Kate probably, I would say.
What category was that?
I believe Hurricane Kate was a Category 1.
Wow.
It was just how it hit us.
Yeah.
It was just, it developed in the Gulf, I believe, and it just came directly at Thomasville. So it's not even the category that matters. It's how close
it's
you
a straight
are to
line,
it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a straight line, right.
And, over these 40 years since Hurricane Kate, the electric system has been upgraded, larger power lines, larger classification of wood poles, and heavier construction technology. So it is improved from what it was then, but all that plays a significant role in being able to restore and how much damage you sustain.
Yeah. There were trees everywhere.
There
That's
were
all I
trees
remember.
everywhere.
Oh, that's all about
It
all I remember.
was a mess.
Yeah.
And it hit us in the middle of the night.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
remember my power going out as a child.
We're not saying
a long
you're
time
old,
ago.
but we were both kids.
Yes, we were kids.
We had to write about this in second
I was
grade.
21.
You look younger than us, so it's totally not fair. But Drew, what about you? What's
Mine
been
was
tough-
Michael. Mine was Hurricane Michael. It was the first large one after I'd left working in electric and gone to run our URC. And
You thought you got off easy.
well, no, not really. It's a lot different. It's a lot. Obviously, it's a lot less physical, but mentally, it was hell. It was. We've changed. The city's changed the way we do things a lot. But back then it was not uncommon. You would just work 24 hours, 36 hours. You just kept working, and so I was relatively young. There was a lot of things in my department that needed to be worked on, and it was just 20-hour days. It was pretty bad for me.
Well, Drew just made a statement that is very true, and there's a lot of truth to it. There is a threshold now, a limit to how much you work your guys at one time, and it's been defined by a lot of agencies, and it's a proven fact. We tried to stick to a 16-hour day now.
Let's say that again. 16 hours.
16
A
hours.
16-hour day.
16 hours.
Try.
16
emergency.
hours. That's like a double.
That's a double shift.
Yeah.
So
Most
When
of
these
us work
storms hit-
most of us work a single.
yeah. Well, when these storms hit, the linemen, we have this mentality. We want to try to restore everyone, but it just physically you're not able to do that. You have to have rest.
Yeah.
So, and you get way more work and way more progress is accomplished during the day when you have daylight. Working at night when you're exhausted is almost defeating the purpose. So, when it gets 9 o'clock at night and we've worked, we're going to start winding it down and try to get our guys 8-hour rest period. And that's mandatory now.
And I think that's one of the parts that's important to say. The crews, they love what they do.
They do, absolutely.
They do, and when you love what you do, that's where you get that adrenaline rush to try and make an impact.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that makes it tough for both of you guys to manage the situation, because some may want to try and be Superman or Superwoman, and you got to keep them tamed and make sure that they're not, exceeding the limits to put their team or themselves in danger. And
Exactly.
I think that's always
And-
part of that equation.
Drew and I sometimes butt heads a little bit.
Y'all don't seem like
we'll
opinion.
be at night, and Drew's like, "Well, we got one more." I'm like, "Drew, we're
This is
done
a good
for
part of the
tonight.
podcast,
Yes.
Austin.
We're done
Yeah.
for tonight. We'll pick up
Yeah.
in the morning."
Yeah.
And then Drew was, "Okay. I understand."
And a lot of times it's like triage. It's you have to prioritize. You have to, not really cutting off a limb, but you have to be like, well, no, we're not going to get that back up. We're not going to get that power back on, because we've got to prioritize. We have to in the evenings when it's winding down. I'm looking for more simple outages that we can do if there's time. But we will also tell them, it's like, well, sometimes you'll tell them, hey, go look at it. And if you don't have enough time, don't do it. And that's a mistake, because they will do it. And so you just have to stop telling them, because they're just like, no, I'm going to fix it while I'm here. And then Brent gets on to me about it.
We'll wrap up things with quite simply a big thank you to you guys for being here, but also for everything that you do and everything. Whether it's we've been a little lucky with the weather patterns here lately, but there's always things to do. There's power outages for a variety of different reasons. So we appreciate the work that all of your teams do, and especially when it's those severe moments that your teams, and this is plural, are stepping away from their families and spending time serving their community and going above and beyond. So we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate your teams and everything you'll do. A few announcements. Coming up on Thursday, May 21st, we have our first Coffee and Conversations with the Chiefs. That is with our police chief, Wade Glover, and our fire chief, Tim Connell. It'll take place from 7:30 to 8:30 at Grassroots Coffee. So come on out, have a chat with our chiefs about public safety matters, and just have a cup of coffee.
To jump in, they're very conversational.
Yeah, they'll
both
talk.
of them.
Yeah,
So
they'll
just heads up, come talk to them. They're cool.
We'll be lucky if we get out by 8:30 if they get talking.
That's right. 8:30 p.m.
8:30, yeah, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. with a question mark. And then it is Georgia primary season, so early voting has begun, but there are governor, lieutenant governor, Senate, House representatives, and judicial positions. Get on out. It's part of your civic duty, right? We talk about
That's
on the
right.
podcast civic duty. So get on out there. The election, obviously, primary election takes place on May 19th.
Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app, and make so that way you can give us a hard time.
You've been listening to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. The show is produced by the City of Thomasville Marketing Department. The show's music is by pond5.com. To learn more about the City of Thomasville, visit thomasville.org or follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.